In this video, we're taking a closer look at the new plastic origami dripper. Welcome, my name is Patrick Rolfe and this is Coffee with April. For this episode, we have something quite interesting for you guys actually, and I believe we are one of the first companies in the world to actually have it. We're talking about the new plastic origami dripper. A lot of you most likely knows Origami from before. It's a company coming out of Japan. Got really famous back in 2019 where the World Brewers Cup champion won using the brewer, was famous already before. We saw several of them in the World Brewers Cup, and we saw one of them, the Canadian competitor Ply, using the plastic version of the brewer, which apparently is a prototype for what is to be launched sometime next year. Now, again, part of why I love being backstage in a World Brewers Cup competition is that you get the opportunity to see these brewers, test these brewers, and Ply was kind enough to give us one to actually bring back to Copenhagen. We have been test brewing it. Now, there is limited information about this brewer at this point. Obviously, it's a plastic brewer. Obviously, it's a similar shape to previous origami brewers with a few adjustments, which we're going to walk you through as well. So what we wanted to do here is just really brew with it, share our results, and also then kind of benchmark it a little bit towards the ceramic version, which is the previous version. Now, we should say these are obviously two different sizes, and size of the brewer is going to impact a little bit of the flow rate. So it's not a perfect comparison, but we're going to do it anyway because it's interesting. The paper filter we're using is a flatbed filter. As most of you know, you could also use a cone-shaped brewer or filter, which makes this brewer very versatile, and that's part of what's interesting with it. We're using the April paper filter for this specific test. I'm sure we're going to do some Patreon videos with other style of paper filters as well, so if you want more insight in that, sign up for Patreon. Now, the main change in terms of design is, from what we can see, is the bottom part of the brewer. So part of the challenges with the origami historically has been that it has some flow rate challenges, kind of similar to a Chemex to some degree, just because you don't have anywhere for the under pressure to kind of alleviate. So what they've done now is that they've changed the rim or the holes in the very bottom of the brewer to actually make them a little bit deeper to allow a little bit more air or steam to actually come up through the brewer, which gives you a better flow rate throughout the total brew. Now, we're going to jump in, we're going to do a little bit of brewing, we're going to walk you through the recipe, then we're going to have a little bit of a tasting and let you know what the result is. The coffee that we're using is a washed, processed Maracatura varietal from our partner farm El Socorro in Guatemala. A very peachy coffee, very light coffee. We brew this on a relatively low strength, targeting around 1.25 to 1.3 TDS. We're using a water temperature that sits at 90 degrees Celsius. And we're going to do the standard 2-pour technique that we use here at April, which is 100 and 100. We're starting with a 50-gram circle pour, and then we're finishing with a 50-gram center pour. And I'm going to do these two exactly identical. After the first pour, we're going to give it 35 seconds, and then we're going to do the second pour. And we're looking at a total brew time here, which is going to be somewhere between mid 20 minutes. So let's say 220 to 240 in terms of total brew time. Now, when it comes to grind size, and we get these questions a lot, everyone wants to know a specific Comandante grind size. And I just want to highlight that, keep in mind that what's most important is the total brew time. So don't worry so much about finding the grind size that we give you. Worry about finding a grind size that works, that gives you the total brew time that we're asking for, right? So regardless of what grinder you have at home, if we say that we're looking for a 230, 240 total brew time, simply adjust your grinder accordingly, right? So keep the pouring structure, and then you just change the grind size to get that total brew time. And if you achieve that brew time, all should be good. And the coffee should actually come out tasting as it should, right? So the total brew time that we have here, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And when we reference total brew time, that's basically watching all of the water go completely through the coffee and then giving it about 5 to 10 seconds extra to make sure that it has properly drained. Now, in terms of taste, it's a little bit interesting because it's a massive difference. So here we've been using basically the same dose, the same water, the same pouring technique, the same paper filter. Again, there are two different sizes. That's gonna definitely impact the result as well. But it's interesting for us to see that the plastic version definitely produces a more acidic cup of coffee, a more vibrant cup of coffee, a juicier, better cup of coffee. So in combination between the two, or in relation to the two, we definitely gravitate toward thinking that plastic tastes better than the ceramic version. Now, there's a lot more testing to be done. There's probably going to be a lot of updates from Origami as well about this plastic brewer, but from what we can see and from what we're tasting using this brewer, we're excited. We believe it's an improvement. We believe it makes probably then better coffee than what the previous versions have done, and that's really interesting because it's important when you come up with the new model that it actually is an improvement from the previous one, right? That's something that we work on here with April as well. Now, we will have more videos on this coming up. We will have a comparison video between April and Origami Plastic, of course, as well. So stay tuned for that. And if you have any experience with Origami that you like to share, or if you perhaps already have tried the plastic one, which I don't think a lot of people in the world have done, then please let us know. We're super interested to hear your thoughts about it. And then we'll keep you updated on Patreon as well with a few more details that you won't find here on YouTube. So with that, we want to thank you for watching as always, and have a good day. We want to give a special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we are able to continue to make these videos. And we want you all to feel free to always come with suggestions and ideas on the content that you want to see, because we are doing this for you and because of you. Thank you from all of us here at April.